Well, let me actually go into a question here about genetic testing, because as you're talking, it occurs to me that so even if people, so if people are doing the primary caregiving or they're just related to someone with, the secondary caregivers, whatever level you're at, there's an extra thing with FTD that's different than taking care of someone like in my situation where my mom had, just sort of regular dementia, as if you want to call it that. So what I'm getting at here is that you're not only taking care of someone, but it extends beyond that where the same issue that they have could affect you. So could you discuss genetic testing?
Also one of my favorite topics nowadays to discuss. To clarify, with FTD, more often than not, it's not genetic.
Okay.
It's a sporadic case.
Okay, I didn't know that.
There are a handful of those cases that are genetic, and I can talk about how we found out that this was genetic and the whole path that we went down to get the results. We found out that my mom does in fact have it genetically, and she has what's called a progranulin mutation, which is called GRN for short. And basically, if you have that, as my parent, I have a 50-50 chance of getting FTD. I am making a choice to get genetically tested because that choice is going to affect a lot in my life. And I can start like this. I don't have children yet. I want children. If I have the gene, I have a 50-50 shot of passing it down to my children. If I have the gene, it's almost 100% that I will get FTD in my lifetime.
Wow, I did not know that.
There are some other things that can affect it. I'm not going to say who, but someone else in my family, one of my mom's parents, they did the genetic testing, and both of them are in their 80s. And one of my mom's parents came out positive for the same mutation that my mom has. Why is it that they made it to an older age without ever having a sign or a symptom? And the doctors speculate that it's because they have another gene called TMEM106B. And if you have that gene, it can suppress FTD.
Ah, okay.
That's just a theory. So let's say I have the GRN mutation. I then have to go get tested for the TMEM whatever, in which case it might suppress me getting FTD. If I want children and I have the FTD gene, I have to do in vitro. I don't have any other choice so that I can ensure that my future generations won't have this. Then there are conversations that I have to have with my partner. What's going to happen if I do get this disease? That if I hit the age of 60 and now you have to caregive for me full time because you see how it's like with my mom now, I could very well be in those shoes. Then on top of that, what they don't tell you is you have to get life insurance before getting genetically tested for this. If I test positive and I don't have life insurance, chances are no life insurance policy will ever cover me.
Wow.
And
who's thinking about life insurance when you're 31?
Right.
Yeah.
So I've been going down that process, getting the life insurance. The policy is almost finished. And once my policy is done and I'm signed off on it and I have all the paperwork, I then go and I do the genetic testing. That said, it's a very difficult decision to make, whether or not you want to go through with testing. Because on one hand, if I have FTD or if I don't, it'll give me a lot of peace of mind for what's to come. If I don't have it, great. I don't have to worry about it. I can just go on living my life. If I have it, then there are a lot of conversations that need to be had and a lot of planning for the future. And also testing for the TMEM gene to see if maybe it'll be suppressed. If someone chooses not to get tested because they just want to live their life as is, I respect that wholeheartedly. To never find out. And just take it as it comes, because maybe they'll never get it, which I hope is the case. Or then maybe they do, but they can say that they just lived their life.
Mm-hmm. Hmm. Yeah, I mean, when we first started talking about it, yeah, that was a real eye-opener for me because, I'm taking care of my mom, and she had, what I would call like run-of-the-mill dementia. We never figured out exactly which kind, but, I know that, not to sound morbid, but once she passed away, okay, that means dementia's sort of out of my life now. But with FTD, it's like it's so much more complicated.
I call it a plague. It's a plague that fell on my family out of nowhere.
Mm.
No one expected it. It's been a wild ride ever since.
Hmm.
Sometimes I even have to pinch myself and tell myself that, like, yes, this is in fact real, because somewhere years ago time stopped, and I think mentally I'm still stuck there sometimes. And then I go and I FaceTime my mom, and I'm like, yep, can't have a conversation with her. Here we are.